So I've won a couple games in a row at this point, and I go out to check my standing or my pairings for round 21, and that's the last round of the day. I'm ready to get home and get some sleep and whatever, and I see that I'm paired against Carl Johnson. Carl's in first in the tournament, and kind of a dark horse candidate to win. He hasn't played a lot of tournaments recently, kind of came out of nowhere, but he's always been a strong player, and now it's my chance to play him, and I want to say I'm on board like 2 or 3 or something, just right up there. So this is my chance, if I want to come in and really try and win this tournament, then I've got to beat Carl in this game. So it's a huge game for me, and Carl goes first, and he spent a long time on this turn, and then finally played non-home. And I held the word for a while. When I'm holding a word, a lot of the time, especially in Division 1, this is effective. You look at their rack and you see what they could have. And I figured out pretty quickly he could have non-hero. And the reason non-home looked weird to me is because I know the word non-heme, and I've never really associated that as a pair of words, non-home, non-heme. So I held for a while, but when he's got non-hero available and he's an incredible Scrabble player, winning Division 1 at the Nationals, at the end of day 3, he's probably right. And I decided not to challenge, and of course it was the right thing to do. It is a word, and you really shouldn't challenge Division 1 players, especially when they're bookheads like Carl is. So I did not challenge and was correct on that. But it sucks, blank bingo on turn 1. It's going to be tough for me to get back in. And non-home almost definitely doesn't take an S. It doesn't. But, that kind of closes the board too. And what's worse is I have like the weirdest opening rack I have ever seen. EQRVXYY. It's so hard to alphabetize those. I did it right, yeah. What? EQRVXYY? What? And we've got a couple candidate plays. Viri is the thing that pops out. It scores 27. It keeps QXY, which is one of those leaves that feels so bad it's actually good, right? Some leaves, like your bingo percentage is literally 0. There is nothing that could ever give me a bingo, and yet, well, I'll score points. The Q is going to get me some points. The X is going to get me some points, right? On this board, though, the Q and the X seem pretty weak. Even the Y seems pretty weak, especially after Viri. And what's worse is long term. I'm down 70 points on turn 1, and Viri is a very closed play. Like, it's going to be hard to get out to the left side of the board, to get up to the top of the board, even to get down to the bottom of the board. And so it's like, I don't want to make a play like Viri and just build a wall when I'm losing by a bunch. And I'm probably the underdog even in a 50-50 game because Carl's a good player and I'm just an okay player. So I hated making this play. There's a couple other options. There's Oryx right here. And then there's literally just like, forget it. I'm going to exchange a bunch of tiles. And after the tournament, this is one of the positions that confounded me more than like anything else I saw all tournament. I asked several other top experts, what would you do? And almost unanimously, the answer is exchange 5. Almost everybody told me just throw back and hold ER. Exchange QVXYY. And I ran a sim of this for a long time before I filmed this video. And what I saw is what you're seeing right here is Viri by far wins the sim. And of course, a sim is dangerous. Quackle's stupid. Quackle opens a board when it doesn't want to, and like Carl probably doesn't want to open the board when he's already got a lead and he's a favorite like this. And exchanging did pretty poorly. But, going back, like, this game just kind of spiraled out of control for me over the first couple turns, and I want to say it's because I made this play. So I don't know if Quackle was right here. I'm happy that at least it says that it would make the play and score 27. And Ori Swift also told me he would do that. And Ori's great at pulling games out of his butt, and Ori's great at playing on closed boards, at least in my opinion. So I've got Ori's opinion, my own opinion, and Quackle's opinion, but practically every other expert out there is telling me, don't do that. That's ridiculous. QXY, kill the board. No, you can't do that. So I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Huge turn, really important turn. I'm glad some stuff agrees. Again, if you have opinions, please let me know. I don't think I'll ever solve that one. Carl comes back and plays balls right here for 14. So I guess he had 7 consonants and just tried to make a play out. And my QXY, remember I left that? I pull IMUU into QXY. It's like, well, great, I got a U to go with my Q, but this rack is just as weird as my first rack, and I still have no idea what I'm supposed to do. So I simmed this one too. Just again, this game was so confusing to me. And Quackle wants me to play Lum right here, hold quick C, QUIXY. And I guess I like Lum for a couple reasons. A, it doesn't really give Carl many plays back. And B, like if I pick up a T, I can play Quilt right there. You know, QUIXY is probably gonna net me some points no matter what happens. And I guess in hindsight, I wish I had seen Lum. I know one of my big weaknesses in Quackle is when I see the Q, I try to play the Q. I get blinded by not playing the Q, and so I played Quinn right here, and I just wish I could have it back. You know, Lum does look better after the Quackle simulation. I'm not going to sim it right now because it's going to take too long to get you results that matter and that are effective, but super weird position, super weird start to a game. And partially my fault for deciding to play through it and continue with these weird clunky racks that I just cannot figure out what to do with. See, I want to play Lum so bad I even clicked it there. I play Quinn, and Carl comes back with Hulk, so really not too bad. Like 21 is probably above his expected value on that play because the board is that bad, and yet he got it, but not the end of the world for me. And finally, I start working my way into reasonable racks for the first time this game, EFMOUXY. Still not really a ton of good options, but I think this play is pretty straightforward. You want to play Oxy here. Oxer keeps the board closed, and maybe in a more neutral game, I want to do that against Carl. Against bookheads, against people who know a lot of words like Carl, I tend to try and just keep the board really, really dead, so word knowledge doesn't matter that much. But I'm down so much, I still want to try and keep things open and aggressive. So I decided to play Oxy in this position. Carl comes down with Thurl right there for 18, so he's not scoring too super well. Of course, you can't really expect to on this board, but he didn't have like a good overlapping play here, which is important. ADEFMUV. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, that's what I draw. ADEFMUV is what I draw, and I think this is a pretty no-brainer. I opened a spot. I'm gonna crash some tiles down on that spot, make it go away before Carl's able to. So Do comes down. It's 34, and just like that, despite a bunch of junk, he's also had junk, and I'm almost even after his opening turn blank bingo. Unfortunately, this happens next. He drops ZEN right there, so that's one of the scary things about YE now is it takes that back Z, and ZEN doesn't take a back S, so it's like, crap, he gets to score a lot, and I don't really get to do a lot back. Unfortunately, I forgot to write down this rack. I don't remember what I had. I do remember I held AFMV, and I know I drew an I, and I really can't tell you what I had beyond that, and that's unfortunate. I did play Vim in this situation, so my guess is I didn't have any good plays down here. But yeah, I knew this was going to happen at least once, where I forget to write down one of my racks for one reason or another, and sure enough, that happened here. Carl plays Menu for 15, and to me, that kind of looks like he's holding an S. He's opening up the board for an S hook. Maybe he's holding an S there. I think it's more likely than just a neutral rack. Fortunately for me, I also have an S. ACEFIGS is FGIS, I should say. ACEFGIS is what I've drawn. And this is a big turn, because there's some stuff you can do. There's facing, there's fiancé, there's fag, and all of these are good plays for different reasons. Again, I'm down, but it feels like I'm down a lot more than I am. Like psychologically, when you're dealing with Q, X, Y, U, U, V, whatever, like it feels like you're dying, especially when you get blank bingoed on turn one, but you're not. I'm like 70% sure facing takes an S, maybe 80% sure it takes an S. It just seems like it should, the facing of a rock or the facing of a wall or something, but not totally sure, and because Carl's a bookhead, like I know Carl knows. Fiancé is crazy because it puts an E in the 7th spot in a triple triple, and menu might be a fishy play. And so I kind of went back and forwards between all three of these options, and still in hindsight, like I don't really know which one is right, which one's the most appropriate play to make. At the end of the day, because I had an S, I decided to play facing. I felt pretty good about that, and I felt like the S hook on facing is going to be tough to make go away. And even if you do, I get 8 lanes back, and I'm losing, so that all seems good. But, you know, coming back and looking at this game 8 months later or whatever, when I see Carl play menu, I'm like, oh, well, he was holding an S. It just, like, instinctively, that's what I feel like. And so I should probably know, well, if he was holding an S, he's got it for facings, too. So I don't know. I don't know what the actual odds Carl has an S after menu are, but my gut now says he has an S, and facing comes down, and then sure enough, he has not just one S, but both of the remaining S's, and crushes me with Joss for 70. So that was sad. I pull A, B, E, E, N, S, T, and I don't know what to do. This has gotten really tricky because there's this big hotspot to score a lot of points at the bottom, and I don't have it. The best I can do is probably beat, or if I really want to blow it all up, I can play beaten for 31. But I'm down 80. 31 is not going to do it, and there's, you know, as soon as the menus hook goes away, that's it. And if I play at the bottom, menus goes away. So maybe I need to make a play like Nabe. Just kind of open up another spot. But then if Carl scores 40 down here, even if I bingo down to the E in Nabe, which is like the best case scenario down from 0-1, I'm still losing. So I don't know. I really don't know what I'm supposed to do. I'm just kind of getting destroyed this game, and sometimes that's how Scrabble goes. You just get destroyed. Maybe I want to make a play like Beat or Bean and just try and set up like a ridiculous outside chance at an O hook. I don't know if I'm that desperate yet, too, is the other thing. What I finally decided to do is I said, forget it, I'll play Beat. If Carl does play down here, I have a shot to bingo through his stuff, and maybe I can open up the board in a clever way, too. Don't feel good about it in hindsight. Don't know what I'm supposed to do. Do I score more points? Do I open up the board? Do I do something crazy? I have no idea. I don't know what I was supposed to do to win this game, and that's how Scrabble is sometimes. So I played Beat. Is that right? Probably not. But it doesn't really matter because Carl comes down with aeration right here as a natural, and it's like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me right now? Like, AAEIORT, you're going to bingo for 73 on a dead board. And Carl even said afterwards, like, you know, it's the tournament of your life when you've got AAEIORT and you bingo for 70. It just happens. And Carl was having a great tournament. He's also obviously playing very well to be 17-4 or 16-4, whatever he was at this stage of the tournament. So he does string an A out there for me in a triple-triple when I'm down. I'm not really able to capitalize on it. DEFINPS. So I've got the opportunity to do something kind of fun. I can play pinned there. I can put the D on that triple word, which opens up a lot of plays down from 0-1 while the triple's open. So, like, it's something. You know, I'm not dead in the water, but it's close. Carl doesn't really have a chance to do much. He just gets to play a tire there for 18. So, maybe. And I don't know what you're supposed to do in these situations, if you should just roll over and die, or if you should really get aggressive. I decided to play Fard right here. DIIS looks like a pretty bad leave, but if I pick up an E, I've got like IFID, or IFIES, IFIED, or IFIES through that F. So, like, you know, there's not a horrible chance I actually pull some triples here. And I score enough, and just give Carl more stuff that he has to block. So I think when I'm down 110 with 24 in the bag, like, this is what you're supposed to do. So that's what I did. And he plays Flu for 30, just deal with the triple, try and win the game. And that's, of course, exactly what he's supposed to do. DGII. OSU is my pull. And so I just kind of do the same thing again. I play Guiro here, just like, well, okay, there's another one, like, what are you going to do about it? And Carl says, well, I'm going to bingo. And he comes down with pie crated here. He actually sat down and did the math and tried to figure out, like, are there possible triples I could have from that unseen pool? Because Carl's bingoing with 7 in the bag, so he's going to pull the last 7, and if I have a bingo, I'm going to bingo out. So he did the math, and he figured out he could actually lose to certain plays like ragweeds, and triple through the G, and to drop that W on the blue square. So it's possible, albeit improbable, that I could do that. But most bingos, even most regular triples with all 1-pointers, he's going to survive. And so he decided he's going to go ahead and play the bingo. And I think that's the right thing to do. Ooh, cat facings? That's amazing. That makes me happy. But I don't know. I don't think you want to play something like cigarette here. I think you just take your spread points, especially when you're in first by spread right now. I think that's okay. And I did have a bingo rack, but it wasn't a bingo rack that's going to give me a triple. I had Sandy or Sardine, Randy's, all that. And so Gradines, or however you say that word, is going to come down. But it's not enough. I don't have ragweeds or anything like that, and I'm just going to lose by 100. I really feel like a ton of this game came down to that first turn with Veery versus exchanging. You know, for the first about 4 or 5 turns, as I continued going through like nasty, disgusting racks, I was thinking, well, maybe I shouldn't have played Veery. Maybe I should have done something else with that. In hindsight, I think probably I did it right. But again, not sure. I don't think I'll ever be sure about that. It just, when your opponent bingos for 70 on the first turn and is very good, a lot of the time you just lose regardless of what you do. So that was that game. Congrats to Carl. And of course, Carl's going to go on to have an amazing tournament. He's going to place top 2, and he'll go on to lose the best of 5 final or best of 3 final, whatever it was, to Alec. But interesting game, kind of frustrating game, sad way to go out, especially because if I had beaten Carl, I'd be right up there in the thick of things. But hey, I'm 12-9 after 3 days, having a pretty good nationals, and I'll take it. And I'll get to go get some dinner with my friends. That's more exciting. So that's game 21, and tomorrow begins the Miracle Rally. So stay tuned.